Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and hi everyone. So today, Group 6 will present about Malaysia's role in Asian Regional Cooperation, a look at foreign policy themes. So here are the presenter. For the first presenter, Subhan Muhammad Hafiz, the metro number 276394. And the second presenter, Nur Sarah Hazikah binti Marusi 278199. And the third presenter, Amirul Muhammad Afiq bin Asman 278762. And the last but not least presenter, Muhammad Aiman Irfan bin Muhammad Asri 279578. So now, let's begin.
Justice and equality are at the heart of Malaysian foreign policy. This is reflected in the country's international relations. As a whole, Malaysian foreign policy has aimed to defend the country's sovereignty and territorial integrity interests while also making significant contributions to a peaceful and inclusive community of nations via effective diplomatic negotiations. A strong foreign strategy was still needed to help a developing country evolve into a nation with a post-industrial economy that had ties to its neighborhood and even beyond. Individuals who saw the sad events of 1969 realized these strategies' irrelevance in securing a happy result for all Malaysians. Unfortunately, this was not the case for everyone. Colonialism, Malaysia has grappled with three major ethnic groups, each with a unique culture and economic importance. A uniform government purpose and hence a single economic growth strategy was required when the states gained independence. The government has mostly succeeded in creating a successful multiracial economic system. Few countries have succeeded to resolve national, ethnic and religious conflicts. Malaysia's foreign policy has always been founded on this knowledge and reactions, informed by a comprehensive understanding of Asian ethnic, religious and cultural diversity. To deepen connection with the Asian neighbors, Malaysia has made several steps in the last 50 years due to its many Asian cultures and ethnicities. Malaysia was able to identify Asian difficulties. This aided Malaysian connections with another Asian nations. First, grow tight neighbor. Number 2, mutual respect. Number 3, united strength. And number 4, the future of Asian regional collaboration. Malaysia regional schools are influenced by economic and political progress. Malaysia policy prioritized a safe and prosperous environment. Malaysia foreign policy was meant to strengthen ties with the major military forces. During the Cold War, the prosper Thai neighbor doctrine had to be updated. In addition to prosper Thai neighbors' ideas, I want to teach on the vast array of prospect in Asia for all of us. It simply means that by helping our neighbor flourish, you will also survive as prosper. Affluence makes a state more reliable and its inhabitants less likely to move. And Japanese investment in Malaysia, for example, provided employment and money while spending on our industrializations. Densely populated, we were Japan's main export market. Our growth has helped Japan contrast prosper tight neighbor versus other fear them. This Malaysia grew similar to another Asian governments. Malaysia sees a regional impact as a crucial. With this guarantee of admiration comes decency and respect. To develop mutual understanding, Malaysia kept out of member countries' international affairs. The same technique was adopted by governing party Barisan Nasional to unite diverse political factions. The main parties agreed to not pry into members' personal lives. It takes majority vote from current members to gain power for the 30 years and provided Malaysia with economic and social stability. Malaysian regional philosophy, on the other hand, emphasized unifications to reveal the local perspective at international bargaining tables. Most modern organizations value it as a regional organizations because the EU already belongs to Asians. Any policy suggestions impacts all members, giving its negotiations power. The US, being an ERF member, demonstrate that Western nations recognize Asian as a serious regional body. Malaysia regional ideology emphasized unity to reveal the local perspective at international bargaining tables. Most modern organizations value it as a regional organization because the EU has Asian frameworks. Every policy proposal impacts all members, and Asian concerns are pushed via its technique and efforts. The fact that the US is an ERF member demonstrates that Western nations sees Asian as a legitimate regional organizations in the age of globalizations and free commerce. Malaysia foreign policy is evolving. The 1980s to and 1990s, theoretical approaches appear to be enduring even as the country seeks to prosper sustainable via its strong Asian ties. This administration has yet to announce any new policy. However, additional direct investment is required to help Malaysia develop, particularly in industrial sectors, while Chinese and Indian corporations have committed to assist develop new facilities and infrastructure in Malaysia. As a result, formerly poor countries have become smart and advanced economies prepared to be in Malaysia to retain Malaysia's supremacy in Asia. If not in international affairs, it must be fully address these concerns. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and hi everyone, my name is Muhammad Maifan bin Muhammad Asri and my matric number is 279578. Now, we will move to the analysis main critical point of Malaysia roles in ASEAN regional cooperation. The first point is Malaysia published a foreign policy which mainly focused on peace and security by work closely with Britain, Australia and New Zealand. One of the reasons is the widespread of communism in Southeast Asia region. By work closely with those countries, Malaysia could focus more on their military forces by getting foreign military resources that placed in the country to prevent any potential country from making unfriendly move. The second point is, during Tunku Abdul Razak era, he demonstrated max efforts on cooperation among the third world country by signing a zone of peace, freedom and neutrality which called as a ZOFAN. This is to establish friendly relations with all the countries from ideological disputes during the Cold War. Malaysia also declared that it did not side to any ideological bloc during the Cold War era. The third point is, Malaysia started to focus more on the countries in the south, such as China, Japan and South Korea. Malaysia was interested to build a new trade relations in order to provide more opportunities for our industrial sector to grow. On 2nd October 1981, Tun Dr. Mahathir published a new Malaysian foreign policy which is buy British last. The motive are not to buy the British product and make it as Malaysia last choice if they want to buy it. Malaysia government want to free from the dependence on Europe and introducing the Look East policy in February 1982. During that time, Malaysia engaged many economic with Japan because ASEAN culture is more similar rather than West country. The fourth main point is Malaysia introducing prosper Thai neighbor policies, which is every ASEAN country is for everyone. The policy is about helping the other countries that in need, which means if you help your neighbor country, it will help you to increase the other factors such as investment in your country. And the last point, we already aware that Malaysia actively involved in ASEAN to promote good relationship with the neighboring countries. Malaysia is very serious on the importance about the idea of political consensus, which is respect towards the other country's statement and situation. Malaysia also a country who practically used the consensual consultation. As being a founder of ASEAN, Malaysia played an important role in building the regional force that it is today. A lot of objectives have been achieved and consensual negotiation based on respect to each other establishment compared to the first time ASEAN had been founded.
Greetings everyone. My name is Subhan Muhammad Hafiz with metric number 276394. On this part, I would like to introduce about our group analysis and understanding that will be divided in two parts. In the first part, it will be taken by me to give the understanding of these presentations. Moving on to the next slide. Alright. On this point, we can see that the aim at the stability, peace and economic growth is the main key and the main focus for the Malaysians at the time, with the Tun taking this as the main priorities. As we can see, the first part is the Malaysia regional priorities are inextricably linked to the complexities of its ethno-political terrain. As we can see, there are so many ethnicities in Malaysia. Firstly, the Malays, the second one is the Chinese, the third is the Indians, and rural communities in Sabah and Sarawak. And with its multilateral diversity and also with its duality of the part of region in Malaysia, Malaysia has truly a regional priorities that must be in cap and interacted. And the second part is the Malaysia places a premium on fostering stable and peaceful environment. As we can see, the main focus is to keeping the secure Malaysias, based from inside, even from the outside also. And thus, with this peace and security has been measured and has been kept, it will be a foster on beginning on economic growth. And the third one is, as the result of Malaysia foreign policy was first geared towards safeguarding the peace of its stability, it may keep on focusing on other purposes. And thus, it will create a bigger chance for Malaysia to take on toward the purpose from economic, social, and stability on its focus. That's why this is the main point of part 1. Moving on, the next part will be taken by my colleagues. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi, my name is Amirul Muhammad Afif Azman. My metric number is 278762. I will continue about group analysis and understanding. Malaysian effort to construct a country have been a one-of-a-kind experiment, gifted with the tremendous diversified multiracial populace encompassing a myriad of conflicting political beliefs and religious ambitions. Malaysia has had to contend with 3 large and distinct ethnic groups since a colonial period, which is largely identified by their role and standing in Malaysian culture and economy, according to history. When this played-like democracy attained independence, it was tasked with the tremendous task on unify the country's many ethnic groups under a common national rule and economic growth plan. This article explains detail with their argument that long-term economic growth is frequently stated as requiring political stability. Long-term economic prosperity needed political stability, and Malaysian ethno-political difficulties have a considerable influence on the country's regional objective. As a matter of policy, Malaysia places a high focus on establishing a stable and peaceful environment before embarking on economic growth projects. As a result, Malaysia's foreign policy was largely concerned with ensuring the country's peace and security. To do this, the government worked closely with the United Kingdom, Australia, and New Zealand to improve the country's defense capabilities. From this, it can be observed that Malaysia is confident in cooperating with other nations such as the United Kingdom, Australia, and New Zealand, allow it to play a role in Asia.
Since 1957, about 64 years. Since that, for almost 9 Prime Ministers had been appointed to take care of the country, and a lot of foreign policy had been planned and carried out. The journal had focused more on the foreign policy during Tunku Abdul Rahman era until Tun Dr. Mahathir era. We have seen that Malaysia really prioritized the relationship between the neighboring countries and decided to be a founder to the ASEAN. Besides, Malaysia also signed a treaty as named by Zofan during the Cold War era. During Tun Dr. Mahathir, Malaysia started to change their direction to focus more on Look East policy and by British last. We have proved to the other countries that Malaysia with multiracial country could live in one country with peace and prosperity and be respected by the others, thanks to the previous and current Prime Minister that had been worked hard on the Malaysia foreign policy.
That's all from us. Thank you. And now we are open for Q&A session.